Hi, Leslie Wessel Team Wednesdays, and it's still early fall. It's still warm. Look at this t-shirt. But leaves are starting to change, colors are starting to change, and that means fall. And that means holidays are coming up and all the things. So, a question I've been getting a lot, and probably you're wondering about if you're thinking about putting your house on the market, whether this year, next year, going into the holidays, is this a good time to list? What are my concerns? So, it's kind of interesting because I've been in real estate 19, coming on 20 years. And when I first got into real estate, we definitely saw, I would say, like this bell curve from summer, where, like April through September-ish. And then we still sold homes the other months of the year. But definitely you could tell a reduction. And somewhat I appreciated that because I got to enjoy the holidays a little more with my family. But I would say the last 5 to 6 years, especially COVID on, I think for a couple of reasons, people had to move when they had to move. There's just not been enough inventory. So when something comes on the market, you might be like, man, I'm 6 months out, but I can't count that this house is going to be on the market. I've even fallen victim to that in the last year. Like, oh God, this is a house and I can't say there's going to be another one. And I was right. I watched for 9 months before another one came on, like the house I bought. So I understand. So I think that's part of it. And then, good or bad, we're in a little bit of a drought. A little bit, maybe a lot of a bit of a drought. Not a meteorologist, but we haven't had very many like wet Christmas, like wet holidays. We don't have a lot of snow. We're not having a lot of weather. It's very temperate, very warm. And so homes are just selling kind of almost across the board year round. When looking at the charts for 21 and 22, I have these charts that like show what months things sold for people's neighborhoods. December and January, the last couple of years, are some of the best months. So interesting in that regard. I think people used to think it followed the schools, and maybe a little bit for those specific, if you're in Andover or Mays or some of those school-centric purchases. But even then, it's like, hey, the house came on the market, we better jump on it. I think it's kind of been the mentality. So no, the holidays are not really a deterrent. Obviously, we don't want to list the week of Christmas. We don't want to list the week of Thanksgiving because you want to have a life and because I do and because so do the buyers, so they're not going to come show it. But other than that, we'd be selling houses. So that's an interesting part of that conversation, but we can definitely talk about it because I've got stats going back for the last 2 or 3 years for your neighborhood if we're ready. And we can talk about what's happened the last couple of years to try to forecast what we think is going to happen this year. Obviously, the snowstorm hits, we might want to work around that. And I would love some snow. That'd be great. But that's what I know on that regard. And then in terms of prepping, because things are still green, and even they're just slightly starting to change, Hannah and I have been on the listings we know are coming on the market. So we have one today, for example. The exterior photos are getting shot early. So if we know that your house is coming on the market, have an understanding between the things, yes, let's go ahead and get the photos done while it's green, while it's pretty, because even if it never gets super cold or super snowy, definitely looks better now or in the next month or two than it does in December and January, in terms of trees and things. So anyway, those are kind of how we're addressing the holidays with our clients. Thought we'd have that conversation with you. And if you want to be in that mix, let us know. We can reach out and have those conversations specifically for your neighborhood. Thanks for watching.